Well, guess what? It's time for another episode of Six Figures. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This time we got some Epic Heroes to open. And what I do like about opening up Epic Heroes figures is that this is one of those occasions where I can compare them to some current standards, like 3 3/4 action figures. And I should have picked up one of the Stormtroopers just so that I could have compared them. But maybe we'll do another video on just the Epic Heroes Stormtroopers. Even though I opened 6 of them a couple months ago, and that was a video. If you look back, you'll find it. And I did talk about that, but I didn't compare them in size. So that's coming soon. I will pick up some more Epic Heroes Stormtroopers. And then also at the same time, the current wave of vintage collection, the Stormtrooper is out. So look to see that. I will do a 6 figures episode in one format or another featuring just Stormtroopers. It's coming. Maybe I'll get 2 epics, maybe I'll get 2 vintage collection, and maybe I'll try to grab 2 Black Series Stormtroopers. That would be a cool comparison video. Hard to say. Or, maybe just some vintage collections or retro collection style. I don't know. Let me think in the comments. Tell me what you think so we can share brain. That's a good one. Okay, so let's move on to these Epic Heroes. As you know, sometimes Tom has to swig his Pepsi. Yeah. Name's not actually Kit. Just, gotta have a nickname, and that's my nickname. At least for this channel. It works for the channel, so that's what it is. And we do a lot of kit bashing. But we're doing an opening today because I have thus far collected Grogu and the Stormtrooper of the Epic Heroes line, and I have not collected any of the others yet. This time I did break down and I picked up Luke Skywalker. Got some Return of the Jedi / Dagobah / Mandalorian sort of vibe going on there. So this is kind of an all eras Luke. So that's one of our figures to talk about today. And then we have our Darth Vader. Very interesting. And these have gone from a 3 3/4 line. They ditched the points of articulation and gone back to 5 POA for the most part. So you got a head that turns, you got arms that turn, just, like our old ones did. And then the legs, for the most part, turn. But just up and down, back and forth, like they did in the 80s. So we have a Vader, and I think he does not have any cloth goods either. It's just kind of like a little more straightforward version of the figures, with a tad bit more accuracy and sculpt, but they're a little bit larger than the 3 3/4, and they're kind of comparable to the 90s era stuff with the Power of the Force too. But you can see here, Asoka has also been sculpted in this. So Epic Heroes, they're kind of going in and they're grabbing, like, Asoka is a current Epic Hero. Luke Skywalker obviously will always be one of the top characters of the series. Darth Vader, the same thing. And then in continuing with the modern era, we have our Mandalorian. And yeah, I mean, this can literally stand next to the action figure of the 3 3/4 line, and it's just going to look like he's a little bit taller, more robust version of the same character. So they fit in with the 3 3/4 line fairly decent. So far, nothing really looks way out of place. So that's the Mandalorian, and I got a couple of the deluxes to open. Sabine Ren, very cool. And Visla. Visla. I'm gonna save the deluxe for last, and I think I'm just gonna start with. Let's get Luke out the way first. Let's get him out of here. I'm gonna open up Luke. I promise I'm gonna vote on him this time. I couldn't vote on my Dark Troopers because they're pretty much the same. I don't really have a favorite. You know, I got 2 black cats, and you know, I can't say I have a favorite because people will go, well, that's not nice. You can't say you have a favorite, even though I do. I don't know. Maybe after a week or two, I'll discover that I have a favorite of all those guys. But you know, all this fancy stuff I don't care about. I just toss it, and you know, these guys I just stack them all up, and I save some of these card backs because that is kind of cool to save the card back. You know, just for the art's sake of, you know, appreciating what they do. As a graphic designer, I can appreciate the packaging sometimes, but also I reserve the right to throw the packages on the floor and stomp on them if I want to. I'm taking everything out of this little plastic thing so I can show it to you without being obstructed. So this is kind of more of a Mando area piece of work. He's got all set up so that this thing can go on his back in that little spot there. It's designed for Grogu to go in. And yeah, so it's designed so that your Grogu character can go in there. So evidently Luke's job is to drag Grogu everywhere nowadays. So we're going to ditch that. We will put that on the ground here. And where are we going to put Luke? We're going to put him up top with all these guys. We're going to sit him over here. We can sit Luke next to Luke. How does he stand next to himself? Let's see. Let's compare a Luke to Luke. 3 and 3/4, and the 4-inch line. So I can't say they just kind of look like, you know, they look like brothers. One's maybe, you know, a little taller than the other. There we go. So, yeah, this is the Epic Heroes. This is the vintage collection. Cloth goods, more articulation, elbows, wrists, knees, legs, everything. Obviously, a little more movie accurate. And then this is kind of like a nostalgia grab. So what I don't understand about the line, I can appreciate them putting this line out. But what I don't understand, why they went to the 4-inch when they already have a retro collection out. You know, if you're going to go back down to this 4 or a 5.5 POA, yeah, the wrist doesn't turn. If you're going to go back to a 5 POA action figure line, why don't you just go back and why don't you just stick, you could have put these out as retro. You know what I'm saying? This would have sold as in the retro line. Could have just done this in retro. I mean, that's just my opinion. So I'm going to put our epics up here in front of the big black. Well, that's a Jedi, so let's move on to something not so Jedi. Something Vader this way comes. Something epic this way comes. An epic Vader. So I'm trying to somewhat save some integrity of the packaging, but I guess it's not going to do much good. I always use my X-Acto to try to get somewhat of a clean opening of the action figure, but it just sometimes doesn't want to do what I want it to do, so yeah. Let's be a dull blade. Hacking this one up, definitely. So Hmm. Trying to not destroy the artwork. Although it's hard not to. No, we're just not going to worry about that. Alright, so there's your card back. Shows the actual picture of the action figure. And, you know, they're kind of harking back to the 1990s when they came out with the Power of the Force 2. They were kind of doing like what they had done with G.I. Joe back in the day, where they put like a spec sheet on there to talk about the character and give you a little history on it. So I guess I can appreciate that. Like I said, it's kind of still, like I said, kind of harkening back to that the 90s era when we had our Power of the Force 2 line. So we have our plastic thing. Get all that out of there. We got a little poop sheet thing we're going to not read. So he comes with his cape separated by the plastic. This is not a soft goods cape. So he comes out of there. He's got that kind of thing going on. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, this is definitely screaming, 1990s. And this, I think, if they would have released him like this in the 90s instead of the Hulk Hogan, freaking crazy-ass jacked-up steroid versions of the action figures, I think they would have had a little bit more success with it because it got very popular very quick. And then people were like, man, these are cool, but they're, they could be less He-Man wannabe looking. Because, man, Luke looked like Prince Adam. You know what I'm saying? So, Vader's got a saber, although it's only silver. And realistically, that probably should have been black. It should have been more black than silver. But, Kit Basher has been known to add some paint apps. So Vader has a nice handy-dandy little sword. I have a feeling that Luke's sword and Vader's sword are almost... Yes. So here's Luke and Vader. These epic heroes can have their epic battle now because, Look, when we put our sabers together, it looks like Christmas. Oh, you bastard. Yeah, whatever, So, they look pretty cool. We can put him here. We can put him here. Let's at least, there we go. Vader got some big old shoes, man. Okay. Yeah, they got big feet. So that's one positive thing I will say about epic heroes. They got big feet. They don't fall over. The stormtroopers, I noticed that. They did a pretty decent job just standing on their own without having to have pegs to help them stand up. Let's see what Asoka feels like. That didn't sound right. I have an Asoka in the house. I should have brought her out here to do a comparison, but I didn't. But I got, there's the Retro Series version of her that comes with the cloth goods cloak, and I do want to pick up a couple of her when they go on clearance. Mainly in the spirit of kit bashing, I want the cloaks. I want at least one of them opened with the cloak, so I just have the Asoka with the cloak. But I like to, in its interest of kit bashing, I like to sometimes rob the soft goods off of one action figure and use it for another one. So there we go. We got our back. Again, we got a little poop sheet back here that says a little bit about Asoka. It says, once a Jedi Knight, Asoka Tano now forges her own path in the galaxy. That's hard to read without my glasses on. Sorry about that. Cool card. Like I said, very cool harkening back to the 90s with that little brief history of the character. Not going to read all of that to you, but so far we've gotten 3 Jedis out of this. We got, we're Sith. We got Darth Vader, who's a Sith Lord. We got Asoka, who appears to have, if you look very carefully, some sort of camel toe going on there. She's got like a hoofed foot or something. I don't know what's going on with that. I've also never seen Asoka Tano's naked feet, so I can't really judge. Although, I've seen Asoka Tano fight, and I wouldn't want to say anything mean to her because I'm afraid that she would hoof me right in the nuts. Who knows what she's got down there? Those toes might be normal toes. Those toes might hurt like hell. Anything hitting you in the nuts is probably going to hurt like hell. Got more to worry about with the lightsabers than anything else, but still. I like this. They did a good job on her. That's a very good job on Asoka Tano. That's a very pretty figure. It's very nice. With the white swords, somewhat transparent light swords. As you can see, when the light hits these, they do have some illumination to them. Cool. Does that help show the figure off at all? Yeah? Is it just making... Yeah, okay. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to show that. Once again, very cool. Asoka Tano. Beautiful. I'm going to put Asoka right here by this droid because her lightsabers are kind of space hogging it. There we go. There we go. Okay. She looks a little bit malcontent with the Dark Troopers. Let's see what Mando's all about. Mando. Wow. Having fun with our epic heroes. I know I'm going to do something about my Mandalorian shelf here pretty soon because I'm going to end up running out of room for Mandos. So when I open them, I do, just so I can show you, I wish I had an overhead cam. I can flip it back and forth. You can see me open this while I'm doing it. It'd be easier to flip back and forth, but one of these days when I spend some money on technology instead of action figures. So, you're wondering how I open them. I mean, sometimes they turn out a little bit cleaner than that. Sometimes they get a little ripped up, but I try to somewhat salvage it so it's not total loss. And I don't keep none of this stuff. I just stack these guys up. Sometimes they come in handy as sorting trays, so I keep those. But once I take the action figure out of this little shell there, and like there's a gun, I gotta take that out. And there's a dark saber, I gotta take that out of there. There's nothing in here. I have no use for that now. It's done. I'm done with it. So let's look at our backside here because we got a really nice cape going on there. No soft good cape, it's just a hard cape, but I mean it does the job. It's very nice, very cool. And do we have a place to put the gun? No, but we do have these big holes in the back that we can put stuff in. So we could do, like, he could He could carry Grogu. See? You could make him carry Grogu around. The helmet does not come off. We'll set that there. Put his little cape back on there. Very nice. The way that's designed. It's got just that little slit right there. And then it makes it look very seamless. So that's a very cool design. And on the back of it, they were smart to make it look like it kind of hanging uneven. So, which is kind of how it ends up being in this show. And then, so I do appreciate that. However, he didn't come with the cycler rifle. He came with the dark saber. I just realized this. Every single one of these came with some form of lightsaber. He came with a dark saber. Because everyone's got to be a Jedi now. Everyone I think I see looks like a Jedi Knight to me because they've got a sword. So he has dark saber. And now he's also got a gun and a little holster. Does he have the ability to put the gun in the holster? No, it doesn't. It just got a holster there. Well, you know. You did go a little bit bigger on the action figure Hasbro. So what I am saying here is you probably could have made it so that the gun fit into the holster. It would have been a nice idea. But you got this sculpt now. You should release this again, but release it with the cycler rifle and the kit bashed attire. Just a repaint, simple repaint. Everybody will go nuts grabbing it off the shelf because they want both versions of Mandalorian. And there's been a surge of people looking for the kit bashed Mandalorian because as soon as he went silver in the second couple of episodes, they updated the action figure. And yeah, so therefore the most popular one has been the all silver Mando. Even though, yeah, I kind of wish he would have stayed a little more not so fancy for a little bit longer. But it was kind of cool when he showed up with all that silver Beskar, and everyone was wanting to get a piece of that. Alrighty, another. I'm doing the deluxe edition right now, since we go from one Mando to another. We saved the Mandos for last. We did our Jedis and now our Mandalorians. And then, once again, we have a character with a lightsaber. And I'll show you in a moment here. So, bigger card back. Same deal. It shows all the accessories and how to put everything together. But then it also has, you know, our little bio here, and I'll read you the first line. Sabine Ren is a Mandalorian warrior. And I can't say... Oh, and graffiti artist with a creative and religious... creative and rebellious spirit. That's very tough to read that lettering without glasses. Huh. Wait till you get 50-some years old. You won't be able to read it either. Alright, here we go. This is probably... Well, you know we're not keeping none of that. But I will say, check that out. And the deluxe ones, they embossed the package. So they went through this thing where they didn't want to show... They wanted to show figures like this. No blister pack. And then they go back to this, which is something we've seen before in the Saga collection and original trilogy collection, and I don't know. They can't decide what they're doing with their marketing and packaging stuff. They keep trying. They got to refresh it every so often. I understand that. But us collectors hate it. We're like, just most of us are like, the vintage collection, that's a good looking card. Why don't you just make that? And the retro collection, the same thing. I mean, it looks like a Star Wars card, you know? For us old people who grew up with the original trilogy in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, we're stuck on, you know, this kind of package. This is sort of the look of packaging that we expect to see for Star Wars. This is always going to be the most popular. I mean, almost always. I foresee that. Not trying to predict the future or nothing, but I just kind of foresee that being the most popular of, and I think everyone would agree. So let's look at Sabine Ren, just the action figure. This is very nice. We have some swivel head going on. So it's still, you can give her some expression. You can tilt that head a little bit. Very nice. You can make her look down. Make her look up. That's kind of cool. Here, that's cool. I like the bobblehead. Okay, and she does have her pistols, but her pistols are molded onto her holsters. So I kind of dig that. It's like Mando, they just didn't bother giving him. They gave him a gun and nothing in the holster. So evidently they just want you to play with her and the lightsaber. They don't want you using her blasters, which she does use quite a bit. But, you know, for this figure, this is fine. This is all we need. So, we got ourselves a lightsaber. Very nice. We also have a cool play feature. Got this wrist gauntlet with a weapon built in. That's kind of cool. We have this other wrist gauntlet. It's got that kind of a thing to it. That's cool. She can block stuff with that. That's kind of neat. That is very, very cool. And then she also has her handy dandy backpack. And we'll put that on here. And there we go. So that's what a deluxe figure is. You're paying the extra money for probably 1, 2, 3 pieces of interesting plastic. But, you know, they've got play features. I do like that, how that comes out. That little, sort of like the telescoping lightsabers back in the day. Sort of like, you know, an added play feature. That's cool. You know, nice. But I will say, I mean, there's no reason you couldn't have, Hasbro, if you're listening, there's no reason you couldn't have just done this in a 3 3/4. You didn't have to go all the way to 4-inch on that. I think that's a little excessive. But, you know, I'm just voicing my opinion. There we go. There it is. She's standing. Now we're going to go to the last one. And I haven't really been judging these, but although, I mean, I've got a couple of Ahsokas in one form or another. I've had this Luke a gazillion times. I've got a gazillion Mandalorians. Not the Mandalorian, but, you know, I don't actually, I got that Mandalorian. And I've got some of the, not the Mandalorian, but, you know, I got some of the retro Mandalorians. I've got some of the newer ones like Casca Reeves and Wolves, I think, and the Warriors and the Mandalorian. I don't know, the ones they just put out over the last year and a half or so. They put out a handful of just basic Mandalorians of one form or another. I've got a couple of those. Don't have the armorer yet, but I've got her in vintage, retro, but not in vintage collection yet. So one of these days. So here we go, another one. Pull that out, and again, I appreciate the embossing. I do like that. From a graphic designer's perspective, that is, that's sharp. Very sharp design. Like I said, it all harkens back to 90s and 2000s packaging of things that they've done in the past. Let's get this guy out of the package. He was a deluxe $30 figure. And I passed on him and Sabine and a couple other ones that I passed on. I just couldn't do the $30 on every time they come out one. It was just a bit much. So there we go. We're going to be seeing pretty much the same type of things that we saw with our Sabine Ren, because we've got some form of fiery gauntlet. We got a little dart. Got a backpack. Yeah, he's got some big machine gun that wraps around his back. Yeah. Hey, this has got a... You'll poke your eye out. Yep. Just remember, Boba Fett was supposed to do that. He was supposed to have a rocket fire out of his back. We all ordered it. We got our proofs of purchases, and we got our Boba Fett in the mail. It took months and months and months and forever and a day. And we finally got him. And he didn't have a rocket launching backpack anymore. We got robbed, people. We got robbed of our rocket firing Boba Fett. We were all so excited that we were going to get that. So there he is in all his glory. Like, bro, you got too much shit. Yeah, we're going to put that firearm on. I think he's good with just that, and I don't think we need... Well, you can't get rid of the flame. So he's like on fire full time. It'd be kind of... Almost wish that came off of there. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be firing all the time. Yeah. And this? Yeah, I'm not sure, man. It's kind of cool, but I'll be honest with you. I might wait till I see this guy go on clearance and snag a couple more of them and maybe rob some of these parts, because I tell you what, if I take this and I just look at it like that, there's a million things that could be. That could be the engine to a speeder. You know, that could be some sort of a detail that's almost completely covered up, except for you can see it through the sidewall. And, you know, maybe you crack the hood and you can see more of it. But I mean, I'm probably going to get a handful of these Paz Vislas just to kit bash this gun into something else. So, do I have a favorite, though? Do I have a favorite? Man, I don't know. I don't know yet. I would have to say I really like Asoka. I kind of like this one a lot. There's something about her showing her shoulders there. And it matches up really nice with the paint app on the face. Because it's a paint app on the arms, whereas the face itself is that's the color that the plastic is. So they did a really good job matching that. And they did a good job with the saber. So I really like her. I think she's gonna be my number one. My number two is gonna be Sabine. Number three is going to be that Mandalorian here. So, yeah, Sabine, number two. I think we'll call Paz Vizsla number four, because this Mando's definitely number three. I think he's a really good figure. I think that's pretty cool. In spite of the line, like I said, I'm not a fan of the 4-inch line. In my opinion, I think they could have done this in 3 3/4 and it would have been just fine. You could have just done a package very similar to that. But I mean, when you have 3 3/4 and then you have, a vintage collection with the articulation, and then you've got your 3 3/4 retro series, and then it just kind of makes sense to just stay with the 3 3/4 size. Go ahead and call it Epic Heroes or whatever you want, or change the packaging because you want to focus on just the main characters. That looks like what they were doing. But I think changing the scale, like again, another scale change. And then if you go to Walmart, there's like a 5-inch action figure line that's out that it's, how many times you want to get us for these figures, I get it. It's a money grab, and business is business, but, calm down with the change in shapes and sizes all the time. I'm cool. You got your Black Series, 6 inches, your 3 3/4 size, retro and vintage collection. And then you got your 12-inch action figures. Every once in a while, there's one that shows up in one form or another. And, those are the 3 main sizes, besides like the little micro series action figures that are almost, the little pewter ones. But, 3 3/4 is always going to be the mark to shoot for action figure. But that being said, these are some really nice action figures. Very happy. I want to bring the selfie camera over here and get you closer to the situation, so you can see everything we opened up today. Alrighty, that's all we got today. So let's go back over here. You see, where's Asoka? There's Asoka, and there's Luke, and there's Vader. Very cool. And here's our Mandalorians over here. We got Mando, we got Sabine, we got Paz Visla. Those are all our epic heroes. They're very cool action figures. And again, let's revisit our 3 3/4 vintage collections here. We got our little R4 unit. We got our Kit Bash Mandalorian figure, Din Djarin. We got Jedi Luke Skywalker. We got beautiful Princess Leia in her bikini. She's getting some sun. We got this, what's he called? I don't remember. A Klatooinian Raider. He's one of Jabba's guys. And a Stormtrooper with his gun. And then our wonderful Dark Troopers here that are still doing some breakdancing for us. And some of us with a little more seriousness. And then a little peek at the future, folks. We got some Black Series to open up in a few days here. And stay tuned for some more vintage collection. And got a retro sitting there. And then this thing. So, stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And send me a super chat or whatever it takes to let me know you care. If you have something that you want to send for me to open on the channel, I have actually had banthaskull.com sent me something last summer that I opened up on the channel, and I do once again I thank Bantha Skull again and again and again for sending me that Han Solo. It was a Return of the Jedi Han Solo, and it was in the package. I opened it, but as I do, as you can see, but again, I appreciated that quite. Like, you have no idea how much I appreciated that. So I welcome that. And if someone wants to send something to me, just get a hold of me. Send you an address. You can send it, and I'll open it on the channel, and we'll talk about it. And that's it for now. Stay tuned. We'll have some more videos very soon. We've got some Black Series coming up and some vintage collection to open. So that's it for our 6 figures today. Bye.